Good morning, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. And it was not supposed to rain today, but we have this big cloud overhead and it's raining right now. Wasn't supposed to. It was actually supposed to rain yesterday. I thought that I would be in the house so that I could talk about homesteading with you guys. I haven't had a chance. It took me 4 hours to cut the grass that would normally take me 2 hours because the criminals loosened up the leaf catcher and it was dangling, and every time I'd start the mower the leaf catcher would fall over. Hi Tina. I still name even though Tina's a rooster, I haven't changed his name yet. It's still Tina. So I just spoke with a targeted friend who told me that their agenda is to create so much stress in my life to cause me to get sick, like to have a heart attack or something. Well, I'm going to say this flat out. That's called premeditative murder. So is that what this program is? Premeditative murder? Heart attacks are usually induced. They actually don't happen naturally. The only way a heart attack would happen naturally is if somebody is extremely overweight, puts a lot of pressure on the heart, eats a lot of fatty foods to clog the arteries, or if it's genetic, or if it's induced. And I don't have any of those genetics. In fact, like I said, my grandmother lived to 92 years old. My mother, before they murdered her, was 82. My father did smoke a lot of cigarettes, but they murdered him too at the age of 70. And they used the fact that he smoked a lot of cigarettes to, the plausible deniability. So no, folks, like I'm supposed to live to 100 years old. It's ridiculous. And what they're doing to me here is absolutely despicable. So in 48 hours, they stole a rooster from the coop, killed my guinea hen mom on her hen, and jumped over the fence behind there, denting it. And then killed or stole a female hen. So that's three. And then, of course, they burned holes in the grass, everywhere. But anyway, I saw something kind of funny yesterday. Jeff, the American guinea pig cash cow, has a YouTube channel, and I saw a brief video yesterday. I thought at first it was a joke. Maybe it is a joke, but it's not a joke when you hit the send button. So I told a friend about it, and she and I were just laughing about it. You need to go see it. Like, he applied for a job at the CIA. And as his resume, as his resume, he wrote that he is a non-investigative test subject on the terrorist screening database, and that would be proof of his American citizenship. And he hit the send button, and then his last comments were, "If you can't beat him, join him." That's a little disturbing. I don't think I'm ever going to join the Stasi Nazi agenda. I'm sorry. That's not what this country was built on. Hopefully it wasn't what this country was built on. Right? Truth, justice, and the American way. Isn't that what Superman said? Truth, justice, and the American way. But anyway, it is drizzling. I think it's just a sun shower, but we don't have any sun. It's just clouds. But in the distance there, you can see some blue. But my guineas are all over the place. There are a bunch here. And it's really sad because the guinea that they stole obviously has a partner. That's what they do. They partner up. And you'll see them walking around the property, 2 at a time. Where remember when they were little, you'd see like a whole bunch of them and they'd all hang out together. But when they start mating, they're in twos or fours, you know, maybe 4 of them will get together. So it was really distressing to see that, I guess the husband, I'll call him the husband, standing by the hutch over there and realizing that his little mate was gone. It was very sad. But I will get to doing the homesteading. I want to take some time and discuss the pros and cons. There aren't a lot of cons. The cons about homesteading is the cost, the initial costs of investing in equipment. And it's not just investing in the equipment. There's the maintenance of the equipment and the storage of the equipment. Some of this equipment is quite large. And it needs a place to hang out. It needs a garage. It needs a barn. It needs a place to be secure. And even though I have secure buildings, they're not secure because, as you know, the criminals, the retired military, InfraGard, your neighbors, they all have keys to everything. And if they don't have keys, you know, they're the rat snitch informants that have just been released from prison or jail in exchange for doing dirty work like here on my property or yours. And they know how to break into a building. It's easy for them. It's like a joke. It's this piece of cake. So that's one of the things that I didn't plan for when I moved here, because I really didn't know. I really didn't know what kind of equipment I would need. Here, this is what they do, folks. It's not like a regular knot. They're using some kind of a heat gun or burn agent. And this is what they did here. Look. So it's the cost of equipment, the cost of maintenance. A lot of equipment you can buy with money down and pay it off over time with interest, sort of like a car loan. So you can get a loan for farm equipment. They're also, and I just found this out recently, on here I am going and talking about homesteading, but if you've got some property and you want to get a high tunnel, which is like a greenhouse, there are grants out there that you don't have to pay back. Homesteading and farming grants that you do not have to pay back. You just have to prove with, I guess, receipts and stuff that is what you're using it for. And they will not pay to have it erected. So you have to erect it yourself or pay somebody to install it for you. So, and I saw a YouTube channel who actually received the grant and put up this gorgeous, gorgeous high tunnel. And they don't have to pay it back. But, you know, you always have to worry about, like, getting free money from the government, right? But there are grants out there. The other thing about having a homestead and calling it that, and you can form a little LLC or write off the expenses of starting it on your homestead. If you're selling things like selling eggs or selling hens or guineas or whatever, then you show, you know, when you complete your IRS tax return, you show that, yes, I sold this many eggs. I earned this amount of money. And then you get to write everything off. You get to write off the cost of, like, for instance, buying egg cartons. You get to write off the cost of feed for your chickens. You get to write off repairs in a chicken coop, or even buying the chicken coop, let's say. You get to write off your farm equipment or the leases for your farm equipment. That was a septic service truck that just drove by. So yes, here in eastern Kentucky, you have to have a septic. That was another thing when I moved here. I wasn't aware of of the septic because we have sewers in New Jersey. Everybody has a sewer. You've got a public sewer, and all of your, you know, your poo-poo and wee-wees and stuff go into the sewer. But here in Kentucky, that's one of the requirements, is that you have to have a septic. It's not a big deal, but what is a big deal is hiring somebody to install it, and it is costly. So when I moved here, the cost of my septic, I think it was like $4,500, and I was told that that was cheap. So, but that was an immediate expense that I had to incur when I first moved here. So I needed to install that before I was able to live in my house and use the shower, bathtub, the sink, or the toilet. I'm going to get into this a lot more, you know, in another video, because I really do want to get an outline together. But those were just some of the things off the top of my head to get you to thinking, like, if you're going to buy land, do some research and make sure that the land is accessible. There goes a criminal. Yeah, slow up when you get to my property. They just have to slow up. So make sure that it is accessible and that it doesn't have restrictions on it. There are some pieces of land that will have restrictions. It might be part of land that belongs to an owner. You know, let's say, and I'll give myself for instance. Let's say I were to sell some of my acreage. There may be restrictions on what you can and can't do for those acres. I mean, here in Kentucky, there are not restrictions. You can have chickens, goats, pigs, cows, but there are some places that restrict certain animals. I know that even in the suburbs, you're allowed to have chickens, you know, hens, but you may not be able to have roosters because they crow. So those are the kinds of things you need to look into. And also whether or not your neighbors, and this was just brought to my attention, if your neighbors have dogs that are untethered. And I will attest to the fact that here in eastern Kentucky, there are no leash laws like in New Jersey. In New Jersey, if your dog runs wild and it runs onto somebody else's property, well, most people are going to call animal control. Because in New Jersey, when you apply for your home insurance, your homeowner's insurance, one of the questions is if you own a dog. And they want to know what breed dog. And you know, every couple of years it changes. First, German Shepherds were the bad dogs, then Rottweilers, then Pit Bulls, you know. Oh, there goes another criminal. You notice how much traffic there is of this rural town? 3 cars on a Friday afternoon. Just baffles the mind. Just baffles the mind, right? Does it baffle your mind? Does it baffle your mind? So, if anybody has any questions or comments about that, just feel free to ask, and I will provide the information in a video. But I do want to do a longer video with an outline about what it was like for me when I moved here, what it was that I needed to do first, and what to look for when buying land or a homestead. How much acreage you need. You really don't need a lot. You can grow a lot of food. If you're thinking of purchasing land to buy food, you can be off the grid if you want to. Get solar panels. Water is very important, obviously. But you could buy a water catchment system. When it rains, the rainwater from the roof will go into your catchment. You add a few bleach tablets, cover it up. I've watched Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and they've done a fabulous job in Missouri in setting up their homestead. I think they said maybe they're going on 12 years at this point. 11 or 12 years. I get confused between the number of years they're doing it and their acreage. I think it's approximately the same. But there goes, it's unbelievable. Now five cars back and forth on a Friday afternoon. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. So yes, it is premeditative murder. When I go to sleep at night and I'm feeling good and I wake up feeling sick, I wake up feeling with my stomach being bloated, that's being done to me. If I wake up and my hips are hurting, it's being done to me. If I go to sleep feeling fine, it's not my mattress. And I remember Helena Chorba saying that that's what they were doing to her. So they have an agenda. It's the slow kill program. It's premeditative murder. But while they're slow killing you and asset stripping you and trying to induce illness where there was none or should be none, they're all getting paid. They're all getting off on it. It's their sadistic, addictive pleasure. And it's their Satanist agenda. And no, sorry, folks, I don't really believe in the alien agenda. Like I've said before, the aliens are the government. The government creates all the aliens. All the inbreeding, hybridization. They do too many experiments. And what do you do with an experiment gone bad? Right? They're mating pigs with humans and stuff like that. What do you do? What do you do when the experiment's gone bad? You can either kill it or let it go and see what happens. And I believe that's what they do. That's where our mermaids come from. But anyway, that's just my opinion. And an astrologer friend of mine once said to me, he would call me up and say, I need to ask some questions. I need to ask some help because you're so full of opinions. Well, I am opinionated. It's good to have opinions. I'm more than happy to hear what your opinions are and see if maybe we can merge our opinions together and formulate something fabulous. But anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please hit the thumbs up, like, comment, share. Remember to hit the notifications bell so that you receive notifications when I post a video. Signing off for now.